I'll get a reader on all the themes set to drive markets this week. Pete McGuire from XM joins us now live. Pete, great to check in with you. It feels like it's been a while. Look, this week is set to be big, isn't it? Let's first start with those central banks. RBA, of course, on the docket.
Absolutely, and good morning, Kara. Greetings. It's going to be a landslide, as they're saying, as far as data and what we're going to see. So we've got ECB, we've got our bank, of course, RBA, Fed, you name it, and everyone else in between. So I think that the mantra coming out of ours is going to be very much wait and see, considering what we're going through as far as the lockdowns. We were expecting to see maybe a change of rhetoric, but I think the jury's out on that one, Kara, at the moment. So it's just wait and see. It's an unknown, and it depends on what the RBA and its team are prepared to mention in their discussions and ultimately what impact that has to markets.
Yeah, do you think it's going to be a mover for the Australian dollar? It seems like it's found its new normal now in that range between 73 and 74. Can it move it out of that range, do you think?
Well, I think so. I think the reason for it is that continuing softness as far as US yields and possibly a little bit further softness as far as that US dollar. It's been an incredible week last week on currency trading and big moves. So I think that will continue, that softness as far as US dollar. And maybe we're going to see a 91 something handle. We're at 92.11 at the moment. It was only a couple of months ago, and I remember sitting with you and, we were talking about the Aussie heading through 80, and here we are. But, it nearly touched to 70 and it's bouncing back up. So, it's been a very volatile ride for all traders, and that's demonstrated with that chart there. Just incredible times.
Well, talking of the expectation of volatility, of course, non-farm payroll numbers on Friday, maybe a bit of a mover there?
I think so. We're looking at about a 926 handle, so 926,000 jobs. And really on that, that'll push unemployment numbers down, Kara, to around about 5.7%. Now, and it needs to be taken into consideration, there's about 3 million workers that didn't return to the workforce because of, quite simply, they were at that retirement age. And when COVID hit last year and over the last year, they've taken on board their retirement. So they're not looking for work as much. So it's still missing around about 3 million jobs would be the estimate, or maybe 4 million. So I think that when you start putting on nearly 1 million a month, I think it's going to be a very tight season rolling into, say, October, November. As far as unemployment numbers, it'll be back to really record lows. And the other side, of course, is what the Fed's prepared to do. And we all understand, with inflation in the position that it's in, and Powell sees, Chairman Powell, of course, a stronger labour market, then that's all those ingredients need to be understood, and that could really change the rhetoric globally.
Pete, BOE is another one on the docket this week. How do you see the UK economy, and how do you see that driving that cable price going forward?
Cable's at 139, the UK pound against the dollar, Kara, so I think it could edge up higher. Maybe we take that 140, 141 out sometime in August. I wouldn't be surprised a 141 handle. Bank of England might strike a more optimistic tone. They're in a better position than what we've seen as far as Eurozone. And overall, the UK could bounce a little bit. Over the next week or so, could be a nice little trade to be a part of. So, understanding all of those moving parts, we've got, as I mentioned, a landslide of data coming out this week. And I'm not expecting anything dramatic coming out from a lot of those European and BOE, but that US dollar coming off, a bit more push to the upside for those currencies. Not a bad time to trade.
Well, let's talk about some of your favourite trades of the week then. When it comes to currencies, is dollar CAD in focus?
Yeah, it is. I'm keeping a close eye on that. Also the kiwi, because I think it's a 50-50 split as far as whether we're going to see a rate rise in August. Because naturally, everyone's keeping a close eye on the kiwi. It's sitting at the moment around that, I've got a number here, around about 69.73. So I wouldn't be surprised to take a 70.5 handle out over the next week. I think there's potential to push a little bit higher. Canadian dollar, a little bit. That's had a really nice trade over the last couple of weeks. So I think that continuation won't underwhelm. I think it'll be I think it's certainly one for traders to keep a very close eye on, Kara.
Yeah, what has trader activity been like when it comes to the retail investor? Have you seen much activity? course, US equity markets still trading near record highs. But given that kind of drop in volatility that we've seen in the Australian dollar, as we said, consolidating in that range now, what are those retail traders doing?
Well, they're very much embracing. We've seen big moves as far as gold over the last couple of weeks, big push to the upside. We've seen the US dollar, a little bit softer naturally, which in turn has helped. And crude market and some of those commodities have been, outstanding to short and then to go long, and big reversals. And the currency market, so the traders talk to me and they say they have 6 and 8 screens on their desk and they've got a push bike and they're watching the markets and they're, observing them, and different times of the day to many traders trade. I mean, if you're in Asia, you might only be an Asia trader, but many traders start their day around lunchtime and trade till around about 10 p.m, Kara, depending upon what they're trying to achieve and what markets they want to be a part of. So I don't necessarily think you have to trade that US market to, be up all night and disrupt your life. I think there are other markets just as easily, or get up early at say 5 and watch the US close and how that rolls across from a currency perspective. So as we know, currencies don't stop. They start on Monday morning and end on Saturday morning our time. So it's there's plenty of time to trade, Kara.
Pete, just before you go, what are your forecasts when it comes to that gold price?
We're sitting around, I've got that at around about that 18.16. I think it's possibly, an 18.30 handle. It came off a little bit, Kara, in the last trading session or two. So, I think it's an 18.30, 18.35. Let's see what the Fed says. Let's see what naturally the central banks are prepared to create. And of course, the US dollar. So, gold could go back up, and I think you've got to say it's possibly a northbound.
Yeah, well, certainly lots on the docket to move it in either direction this week. Pete, great to check in with you as always. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Take care and God bless to everyone. Thanks, Kara.